Hello and welcome to another episode of the Nerd Dad Podcast. Your host Anthony. All right, so today we're going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about the new season of Doctor Who, and specifically Mrs. Flood, the very interesting character that was introduced last season. Quick alert spoilers if you haven't watched last season or the first two episodes of this season, stop watching now because I might mention something that you haven't seen yet. I don't want to spoil anything for you. I know I don't like spoilers, so I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So if you have not watched last season or the first two episodes of this season, stop watching now. Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. Just a quick update also for those of you that watched my first full episode. This last weekend was WrestleMania weekend. That was my the first full episode. I talked a lot about wrestling and WrestleMania weekend. I made a bunch of predictions, and just for those that cared, wanted to show how I did with that. So there you go. I didn't do too bad. I had I had 8 things that I predicted that came out right, 5 that were wrong. Honestly, of the things that were wrong, some of those were things that I'm very happy were wrong. I was wrong about, so I'm good with that. Um, I don't want to go too much into this because that's not what this episode is about. But I was one of the things I was wrong about was the women's championship match between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte. I was wrong about that. I thought Charlotte was going to win, and she did not, and I'm very happy about that. Um, so awesome there. But yeah, I say I did pretty good there. But yeah, there's my counter. Did pretty good, I think. I'm happy with that. Um, but yeah, that is not what this episode is about. So let's move on from there and go on to today's topic, which is Doctor Who, and more specifically, Mrs. Flood. So, if again, spoilers, if you have not watched the last uh, season or the current season, the first 2 episodes are out. I highly recommend you go watch those, but definitely do not watch this if you have not seen them yet and you don't like spoilers. So, the beginning of last season, we got a new character introduced very quietly. It was very. They didn't make a huge deal about it. I don't think, but it was there, and if you weren't really super paying attention, you might not have noticed. Might not have noticed how important it was that she was there. That was Mrs. Flood. Um, she was the neighbor of the Doctor's new companion last season, Ruby Sunday. The neighbor's name was Mrs. Flood, and the big important part about it was that she very clearly seemed to recognize who the Doctor was and what a TARDIS was, and she seemed to know what was going on, which was odd. Um, So immediately people started kind of wondering, who is she? What is she? Is she another Time Lord? Is she a previous companion? Things like that. Um, she showed up in several episodes. I think she ended up being brought in by Ruby's mother, I think it was, to watch over Ruby Sunday's grandmother, and she kind of gave off some kind of evil vibes there when she was doing that. Was not a very good caretaker. Said some kind of evil things. Said, do you believe in prayer? And when she said yes, she said, okay, well then, tell your maker that I'm coming and I'm gonna destroy things or something along with. I don't remember the exact wording, but she said some kind of dark stuff. So there was that. She broke the fourth wall. Um, in uh, I think she broke the fourth wall in the first episode when she looked at the camera and said, "What? You've never seen a TARDIS before?" And then in the very last episode of the season, she did it again. She broke the fourth wall at the very end of the episode. She broke the fourth wall and basically told us that the doctor was going to come to a tragic end, or that his life was going to end in tragedy. So yeah, she's an intriguing character. So that was interesting. There's not a lot so far in the Disney era of Doctor Who. The only other character that I recall that has broken the fourth wall is Maestro, which is one of the gods of the pantheon of chaos. I think is what they're calling it. At least that's what how the Doctor referred to it. So that includes the Toy Maker, Maestro, and Sutek. I guess you could also kind of throw the Harbingers in there, which includes there were a couple of them that were just called Harbinger, and then I guess now in the most recent episode, Lux, which was the god of light. So he was both a god and a harbinger. So that was interesting. And again, she was in this episode, and this one, I think, kind of gives us even more of a clue as to who she might be. Is now, not only did she break the fourth wall again, but she also told people, pointed out the TARDIS to people there, saying, watch this, it'll be good, and saying, hey, if you think this is good, I highly recommend you watch on May 24th, which is the date that the Doctor and his new companion are trying to get back to but can't. And I said, I highly recommend watching that. It's going to be a really good one, but it's a limited run, and the implication being that you know it's going to be the end of the Doctor. And if you've read the news, you know that that this is the last season of Doctor Who. After this, they are supposedly going at the end of this season. Supposedly, they're going to kill, like actually kill, for in a very final way, the Doctor, and without regeneration. And then Amazon Prime is going to take on the mantle of Doctor Who with a. They say it's a new title. It's not really. They're just changing the spelling of Doctor from the full DOCTOR down to just DR period, the abbreviated Doctor. So they're changing the way they spell Doctor, and uh, they're basically just revamping the show, rebooting it, if you will, with a new timeline, new actors and everything. But basically, they're gonna just start fresh with a whole new show. So this is the last season. May 24th is not the finale; it's the penultimate show. It's the episode before the finale, and so the the presumption is that the reason they can't get back to May 24th is Earth doesn't exist on that day. It's been destroyed. Um, Not really sure why they don't just try to go back to the day before May 24th. That would have been my first thought. Like, if I can't go back to May 24th, why yeah, I mean, I have a time machine. Why wouldn't I just go to the day before that or the day after? But uh, this is the inability to go back to that day is kind of the focal point and the driving point of the entire series this season. Um, so yeah, I think she's an interesting character. Some theories. There's some people that think maybe she's a Time Lord. I don't think that's what it is. It has been pointed out that she's been seen dressed in similar outfits as all of the Doctor's former companions, which points to the idea that she's either at the very least, intimately aware of the Doctor's history. So she knows about all of the Doctor's companions, whether that means she's been around for all of that, or has seen it or gone back to it. She seems like she's got some abilities, maybe. So maybe she's a time traveler or something like that. Um, so that could be possible. Um, that would be interesting. One idea I think would be, and I is maybe she's one of the gods in the pantheon of chaos. Maybe several times now, harbingers or the other gods have seemed to imply that there's another one, a leader amongst them, a bigger, badder one, saying he is coming, and maybe she is that person, because we all know that, especially in the Doctor Who universe, gender is kind of fluid, so it doesn't, you can take on, especially with amongst gods. So there's no reason that she can't be the he that is coming. But my wife and I were talking, and a theory that I read the other day that talked about how talked about the whole, she's been dressed as similarly to all the different companions he's had. That theory thought that maybe she's been somehow picking his companions for him. And we were thinking, wouldn't it be cool if she was maybe not the big bad, he that's coming God, but maybe she's kind of like in a similar fashion to Star Trek. Maybe she's kind of like a Q type, uh, God type creature, and she's doing all of this. Been manipulating the Doctor all these years, so she is maybe picking the companions or manipulating things. And all of the adventures he's gone on, she's been there somehow, because it's easy enough to retcon all of that. And she's been manipulating him all these years without him knowing it, all either out of boredom, or maybe she's testing the Doctor's moral compass, testing his, you know, whatever, testing his grit, testing his morality. Maybe maybe all of these things that he's had to go through is how a Time Lord actually gets to a point of being capable of real death, because we know that they regenerate every time they die and everything, but maybe going through all of these trials and tribulations is how they get to die or something like that. So maybe it's kind of like a Q situation, which would be kind of cool. It'd be a lot of fun. Or maybe she is a Time Lord. Maybe she is just another Time Lord that's just screwing. Maybe it's the Master. Who knows? I mean, I know my wife is just in love with the Master, so maybe that's what it is, and my wife is just going to be over the moon excited to see the Master come back. Um, but I'm very excited to find out who it is, to find out who Mrs. Flood is and what is going on. So far, the 2 episodes this season have been amazing. If you have not watched them yet, I highly recommend them. If you haven't seen last season, go back and watch them. They're amazing. So yeah, go back and check them out. And I'm very much looking forward to the rest of this season. We have, let's see, I have it written down here. Um, let's see, there are new episodes every Saturday with the finale on May 31st. So I'm looking forward to that. Well, let's find out. We'll find out who Mrs. Flood really is and how everything's going to go down. I'm sad to see Doctor Who go, but I'm hoping they'll do it justice and end it well. All right, so that's it for now, and I'll see you next time.